And this is Becky, and we're with a couple of these Reid.
Yes, we read, and in case you missed our weekly wine this week, we also drink wine. Our Christmas wine this year is Nebbiolo.
Nebbiolo. Every time I say that, I think about, Hermione with Harry Potter. Every time they were trying to do Ovioso, and they would say it one way, and she'd say, no, it's this way. So every time I say Nebbiolo, that's what pops in my head. It's crazy, I know, but it's a wonderful wine.
Yes, it's very light, red wine. It can work for your friends who prefer the white wine.
And if you like Pinot Noir, you will definitely like this wine. It has notes of cherry and cranberry and plum. Goes well with, pizza, grilled vegetables, mushroom pasta. So it's a wonderful wine. And it's Scout and Cellar, clean crafted, meaning there's no pesticides. They do not use any vineyard that their grapes if they have pesticides. There's no additives to it either. And it's a really great wine. So we'll have a link. So if you would like to, we have some specials with Scout and Cellar going on now.
So if you would like to check it out, definitely scroll down to our info section. But now that we've had our drinks, we are going to move on to our book of the month predictions for January. And this will be our last post of 2023. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And hopefully the new year will bring us new books.
Yes.
So the list we've put together have a few authors the book of the month tends to pick almost each time. First up was The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I might be saying that wrong, but you probably know him from The Silent Patient or The Maidens. Both were book of the month picks.
Wow.
And this is a thriller about a reclusive former movie star, Lana Farrer, who invites her famous friends to her private Greek island. The trip is soon upended by murder.
That one sounds very interesting.
Yes. And the next one we had, which both of us noticed this one.
This was funny.
The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins. Now, they didn't have Rachel Hawkins' last book.
Yes.
So this might be far-fetched, but this one does sound interesting. This time it's a gothic suspense tale about an infamous heiress and the complicated inheritance she left behind. So hopefully they'll give Rachel Hawkins another chance because this one does sound like a good one. Next I had Family by Laurie Frankel. It's a story about another star. I'm seeing a trend here. Yeah, they're all stars.
They're all stars.
To some caliber. India Allwood is a young starlet who has adopted children of her own. And she's in a movie about adoption. And the movie is kind of cliche and like, oh, it's such a tragic story. And when she's interviewed about it, she basically says, well, it's kind of cliche because not every adoption is so tragic.
Yeah.
And it does not go well. Like, obviously, she gets in trouble for bashing her own film. And people kind of start coming for her, adoption agencies, people with these stories. And in the end, you kind of get the idea of what real family looks like. And I love a good found family story.
And that's funny because I think it's the Heiress also deals with an adoptive son.
There we go. Lots of stars and adoptions. Next, I had The Book of Fire by Christy Lefteri. And this one was interesting. It does sound like it's going to be sort of the good earth. Sad. It deals with modern Greece and this family in this small village. The village and their home is burned down by a wildfire. Well, one of the family members comes across the man who caused the wildfire, who was just trying to clear some brush. So it was an accident, and they take matters into their own hands. So then you get the perspective of that man's family. And it's said to be a masterwork about the search of meaning in the wake of tragedy. So it's not one I would personally get because I don't like to cry. But if you need a good tearjerker for the new year, it might be. It might be for you. Next, and you read this author's last one, I think. Midnight by Amy McCulloch. She also wrote Breathless. And this is another pulse-pounding thriller. Once-in-a-lifetime trip to Antarctica becomes a desperate battle for survival against a killer determined to follow their prey to the ends of the earth.
And I've always had a fascination for Antarctica.
Yes. And the next I found was Come and Get It by Kylie Reid. I mostly picked this one because it's by the author of Such a Fun Age. And when that book came out, it was everywhere. Like, I feel like almost every book box had it.
You're right.
And so definitely maybe for this one, it centers around the story of a residential assistant in her messy entanglement with a professor and some unruly students. Then, of course, Stacy Willingham, her last 2 books was picked up, and it did really well. So her new one is Only If You're Lucky, and it deals more with female friendships. It's about 2 girls, Lucy and Margot, who are complete opposites. Margot's like very bookish, and I'm going to stay in my room and not talk to people, and I'm going to study. And Lucy is the center of attention. And at the end of their freshman year in college, Lucy asks Margot to move in with her their sophomore year. They do. About halfway through sophomore year, the fraternity boy next door ends up dead. And Lucy disappears. And another thriller, which is being praised for being similar to Gillian Flynn and Alex Michaelides, is about a woman who commits a double murder while sleepwalking. And then she never opens her eyes again, which, as someone who does sleepwalk, this is creepy. This is very creepy. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but that book is Anna O by Matthew Blake. I don't think they've carried him before, but come on, guys. Y'all should take the opportunity to creep me out. And you picked this one.
Yes, A Fragile Enchantment. I think that's funny. I picked it, and then we were comparing our list, and we had several that, we did. It's a young adult fantasy, and it has to do with a magical seamstress comes in to make the dress for the royal's fiance, and something kind of goes on between him and her. And, so it's just a young romance with a magical twist to it.
And they have picked up some young fantasy romance here lately. So maybe this one will get liked as well. And then one of mine is The House of Last Resort by Christopher Golden. Now, if you've watched this for a while, you know that I am always picking at least one horror novel for book of the month to pick up, because I really feel like they need more horror novels.
Yes.
And this one is one of them. So the mayor of the hilltop town of Becchina, Italy, rebuilds the town and sells the abandoned homes for €1, as long as the buyer agrees to live in the home for 5 years. So this nice little American couple are like, this sounds like a great deal. And they move in only to realize that things are not as they seem. And, well, things get a little horrifying. The other one I picked up was The Breakup Tour by Emily Wibberley and Austin Siegemund-Broka. So you've got the character of Riley Wynn, and she writes a Taylor Swift-esque breakup song that launches her into stardom. And her ex-husband comes out of the woodwork, and he's like, it's about me. I should get money for that. So she decides to contact her ex-boyfriend, Max, who is the actual muse for the song. And he agrees to let people know that he was the muse only if she will let him tour with her and her band. So as you can imagine, sparks fly, presumably, in this cute little romance. And another one I saw was The Bullet Swallower by Elizabeth Gonzalez James. It's being compared to a Cormac McCarthy meets Gabriel Garcia Marquez. And it's part Western told in the 1970s. And it's all about family and sort of dealing with the demons of your past and the family, the mistakes that your family has made.
That sounds like similar to a Baron Bircher novel.
Yes.
When you were describing it, I was like, wait, that sounds like...
But it has some magical realism in it.
Okay.
Because there's some time travel. There's a guy who shows up with a book. It's very, very...
Baron in a time machine.
Yes. Then The Clinic by Kate Quinn was another one. A thriller set in a remote rehab clinic on the coast. The death of one of the patients prompts her sister to enter the clinic as a patient herself.
So I almost put that one on there because I had read about it before, and but then I didn't. But hey, you got it. Yeah. Okay, then I chose Diva by Daisy Goodwin. It is again, we have another star. She's an opera singer, and she marries like the richest man in the in the world, and it's all about their history and stuff and what goes on. So it sounded pretty good to me, and it did look kind of like sound like a book they might pick up. Then Love Naturally. This one I thought was cute. The girl Presley, she is a city girl, and she is actually a concierge at a big hotel, and if you need the most expensive champagne and caviar, she knows where to get the best. All right, but she books a trip for her and her boyfriend because he likes to go camping. So she does this, and then he breaks up with her. And when she tells him about the gift and everything, he breaks up with her. Well, she makes her mad, and she's, well, I'm going to go on the trip myself. So she shows up, and she's barely there and realizes, well, I have made a mistake. I am a city girl. I know absolutely nothing. And then Beckett Keller, he's kind of the mountain man. He has his own plans for things and everything. He does not have time to take care of this city girl. But here she is, and he doesn't have a choice. He got to take care of the city girl. And of course, they don't like each other, but, opposites attract and all that happens. So it sounded pretty good to me. And then I thought of you when I read about this one, Wander in the Dark by Jumata Emill. It is based in New Orleans, and it's about two brothers who get together to solve the murder of a rich heiress that has all these family ties between them and her and her parents, their parents and everything. And then she picks him up at a party and they go home together. And he wakes up. He's been passed out on the couch to find her dead. And he is seen leaving her home. And so, hey, he's the murderer. That's it. Clear cut. But he's not the murderer. But that's the way this town in New Orleans, around New Orleans and everything says, yes, he is. And so he and his brother have to really investigate to clear his name and find out who the real murderer is. And I said, well, it's in New Orleans. I said, that's where Chase Harlem is. And I said, it sounds like something Kayla would really read.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so it sounded interesting to me.
Absolutely. And guys, I know this is a lot for this month, but a lot of books are coming out in January, a lot of really good books. Yeah. So even if Book of the Month doesn't pick these, which we have been doing pretty good, at least in the add-on section.
Yes.
Even if Book of the Month doesn't pick these, however, you can always pick them here because they are excellent reads.
That's right. Well, again, this is our last blog post for the month, for the year. Not just the month, but the year. So we hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we will see you back in 2024.
Bye, guys.